Hey guys, it's time for Lawn Theory. So crack open a cold one and settle in and let's get to it. On Lawn Theory, we're going to keep up with industry trends and hear from professionals who built businesses from the ground up. New episodes drop every Sunday, and you'll have new growth opportunities for your business every Monday. Now, let's get into today's episode.
Welcome to episode 3 of Lawn Theory. I'm Sherry, head of marketing here at Lawn Buddy, and I am joined by our COO, Michelle Miller. In today's episode, we'll be talking about business operations, what it is, its importance and impact, and where to start. Thanks for joining us, Michelle.
Thank you so much, Sherry, for having me.
So let's get right into it and start at the basics. What falls under the umbrella of business operations? What is it really?
The word operations is so big and vague and scary, and it means something very different for every single industry for sure, and then every single size of business in an industry. But I like to tell people that operations is making your business effective and efficient.
So what's the impact of not having streamlined business operations? What can someone expect if they don't bother to put forth the effort of getting their operations set up?
Chaos. So specifically, I've always worked with really growing companies and companies that are growing really, really fast. And so in those situations, there's always a lot of chaos because you're setting up systems. And throughout the process of setting things up, it is crazy and it is chaotic, but your goal is to kind of find those chaotic spots and make them human being proof, idiot proof, I guess. And come up with systems that human beings and technology and a lot of other things can follow so that it's not chaotic anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense. Especially because as humans, we will make mistakes. We will sometimes not follow directions.
Right.
And so it's important to have everything laid out in a way that minimizes those errors, and also utilize technology to minimize those errors as well.
Some of the biggest challenges when you're setting up these systems, creating these systems, is dealing with the human being element.
Yeah.
And also, not even the making mistakes element, is the human beings are lazy element. So for example, one of the things that we've been working on internally at Lawn Buddy is job costing feature, right?
Yeah.
And so we'll hear all the time from our customers that they want to be able to look at something in Lawn Buddy and figure out how much something cost them and then how much money they made off of it. But we are trying really hard to take out the internal input that has to come from the fields and the crews and the lady at the desk that deals the receipts.
Right.
Because they don't want to give us that information, right? So it's how do we get this information without having to ask a human being to input it? Because human beings are lazy and they don't like to, right? So
right.
That's what I mean when I say creating systems and thinking about the human being element is the hardest part.
Right. Yeah. That's the biggest variable because humans are also not necessarily predictable, whereas technology is. You know how the technology is going to work, and it's for the most part going to work pretty consistently, but human beings are not so consistent because we're not perfect.
Right. That's why technology is the best. I wish all human beings were more machine-like sometimes.
We just need to be taken over by robots, it sounds like.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So where should owners start when it comes to business operations? Because it can feel like a really big thing to do and to take on. So what would be step 1?
Yeah, so it depends, specifically talking about the landscaping industry, it depends on the size of the business, right? If you are just starting out, then you have to figure out the basics, right? How do I automate payments? Because you're going to learn really quickly that if you're accepting cash, if you're accepting check, if you're accepting credit card, also Venmo and Cash App and all these other payments, and you let your customers choose for you how they want to pay you, it's going to get real frustrating really fast. Because first of all, you're not going to be able to separate your personal finances from your work finances, which is bad for tax reasons. It's going to make your taxes brutal at the end of the year. Second of all, it's going to be like running back and forth to customers' houses, running back and forth to the bank is brutal, and it's really time consuming, and it doesn't feel like that when you like are like, oh, talking about the idea, but then you're living it and you're like, ugh, this is awful, right? So like it's very chaotic and crazy. So you find that kind of chaotic, crazy moment and be like, okay, how can I use technology or like human beings to like help me automate this process?
Right. One of the things that we talked about in the last couple of episodes is, one, don't make it hard for your customers to pay you.
Yeah.
Because then they're not going to want to work with you. Like, the most frustrating thing is that you want to pay someone to do something and they're making it hard.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we've talked about a lot that Steven, our CEO, has mentioned in previous podcasts is taking time now to set things up in your business so that it saves you time later.
Yeah.
And it's painful now and time consuming now and frustrating now, but in the long run, it's going to be so beneficial. And I think that's the same case when it comes to setting up your business operations.
Yep, I totally agree. So when you're just starting out, it's really like setting up payments, setting up scheduling. That's another thing that can be really brutal. And schedule it, like figuring out how you are going to calculate how much each person owes at the end of the month. And like all that can be done through technology. So like that's great. You don't really need a lot of human beings for that. If you are bigger though, like what we hear a lot from our customers is, I am having such a hard time like hiring people, right? So then like your big operations problem becomes, how do I build a pipeline of 50 people that want to work for me at any time, right? Like that's a humongous challenge, but if you could do that, like boy oh boy, wouldn't that solve your hiring problems? And then you don't have to go out and actually be in the field with the crews unless you like are doing it more to be like supportive and like learning what they're doing and like helping to streamline operations, and you don't have to go out and do the work, you know?
Yeah, there's a difference between having to do something and wanting to do something. It's a completely different experience. So right now we're in the height of the busy season. So how can owners balance managing their business and actually working out in the field?
Well, again, it depends on how big they are. So if you're little, you're going to be out in the field, and you just need to like make sure that you understand how much time you're going to be spending in the field. Like, you know what jobs you're going to be doing, right? That's super easy to track through Lawn Buddy. You can look at that, you can easily figure out how long it's going to take you to be in the field, and then you can like schedule like, okay, I know that I need X number of hours to do things that are like less in the field, and you can actually build that in pretty easily. If you are bigger, I would say your goal should be to get out of the field. Like, you want this business to be able to run without you having to get on the mower. And like, of course, you never want to forget what it's like to be on a mower, right? You don't ever want to be not relatable to your crews or your guys. But at the same time, you should be working on setting things up so you can go and take on vacation and it's fine. Yeah.
Steven's answer to that question was, at the end of the day, when you get home and it's dark, because you're not going to be mowing when it's dark, you crack open a beer and you write a business plan. So that's an alternative.
Yes. And in the business plan, I would say try to include it so that you just don't have to be on the mower anymore.
Right. And I think that's a goal for a lot of people, even the smaller guys, is to be able to have a business that can run without them.
Yep.
It's the ultimate goal. What advice would you give business owners who are feeling overwhelmed about business operations?
It's really overwhelming. It's okay that you feel really overwhelmed.
Yeah.
When you're diving into chaos, some challenges are just like really hard to solve, and you're gonna come up with a couple solutions that are not gonna work, and you just kind of have to be okay with that, and you have to realize that you're like trying things out, and you're gonna eventually find something that works, but you just have to keep trying until you find the system that like the human beings will use, that is involves enough technology that it, like, you have the right automations in and everybody understands the automations. And yeah, it's gonna take a couple tries though to like get it right.
Yeah. And that's normal and okay in the process of building a business.
Right. You're gonna make like when you're setting up systems, you're gonna make mistakes, and like it's okay to make mistakes, and people are gonna be annoyed when you make mistakes, and they're just gonna be like, get over it, person. Like, I made a mistake. It's not a big deal, and they will forgive you because they're another human being and they make mistakes too, so it's fine.
Since this is our podcast and we're allowed to do shameless plugs, can you talk a little bit about how Lawn Buddy solves a lot of these problems?
Sure. So Lawn Buddy is designed. So, okay. Yes, I'm the CEO, but I do a lot on the product side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And so kind of my job is to make sure that like we're building the features and that they're super usable for our customers. And so what we actually do is like, first of all, we don't build a feature until it's been requested like 5 times. Maybe even like actually sometimes we don't build things until they're requested like 50 times because they're super hard to build. But then we actually go out and we like have real conversations with our customers and ask like, hey, we like designed this, what do you think? Do you think this is gonna work for you? Like if you're in the field in this context, it's like, can you click these buttons? Everything comes from our customers. So all of the tools that we have built are built specifically for people in the lawn and landscaping industry, right? So like we designed jobs because Steven actually was out there mowing lawns when he like first started Lawn Buddy, and he was like, oh my gosh, I can't keep track of like where I'm supposed to be, when I'm supposed to be it, because he's wildly disorganized.
Surprise, surprise.
And so like he couldn't keep track, so we built that so that he could keep track, right? We had another customer come to us that was like, hey, like I really love your guys' invoices, but a lot of times I don't invoice until like I've invoiced before, like can you guys do something for prepay? At the same time we had a ton of people that were asking for bids, so we built like a combined like bid and prepay tool that helps you like go out. If you want to go to the property, you can, and you can like build it on your phone. You can also do it without having to go to the property, right? Like if someone's just coming out and like asking you to like cut their lawn, like do you really need to waste your time going out there, especially if it's far away? Probably not, right? You can like look at the aerial view, measure it out, and you're like good. The biggest one I would say though is payments. Getting your payments automated and set up so that they like just hit your bank account. You don't have to worry about accounting, because it syncs right with QuickBooks, and you don't have to worry about going to the bank, cashing checks, and doing all that good stuff. That's really going to help you out a lot. It's going to help you out tax season. It's going to help the girl that you have sitting behind the desk that has to like deal with the mess of payments. Everything that we have built for Lawn Buddy has been designed to help business operations for landscapers, and everything came specifically from our customers.
Nice. I think this is a good point to transition into our podcast tradition that I don't think you know about. So on the podcast, at the end of it, we always ask a ridiculous question.
Yeah.
And since Steven's not here to do it, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to steal one of his questions that he asked me before. Would you rather have legs for thumbs or thumbs for legs?
Legs for thumbs or thumbs for legs? Thumbs for legs for sure.
Really?
Yeah! I would, but if I have to like choose between like being like parallel from the waist down or like parallel from the waist up, I would pick waist down. Because like that's what you're saying is like you can't use your thumbs anymore, right? And like from an evolutionary standpoint, this is what makes us like
functional,
than like all the other mammals. Okay. So like I have to have my thumbs.
Okay. Steven's answer was that he would have legs for thumbs so that he could gallop.
Oh, he would say that.
Yeah. I said I would have legs for thumbs because that would be the easiest to surgically correct.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good one. I get that. But yeah, I need my thumbs. And I don't really I can do yoga without my legs, it's fine.
Okay. That's the important thing, as long as you can do yoga.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insight with us today. I hope that was really helpful for our audience. I'm sure that it was. One last thing is you did mention that all of our features come from requests that come from customers. For any customers who are wondering how they can let us know about features that they want, where would they submit that?
Anywhere. I mean, I think everybody that has a LawnBuddy account has an account manager. Reach out to your account manager. We also have our number at the bottom of our website. You can also message us at hello@lawnbuddy.com, and that actually goes through our customer support team, but every time a feature request goes through there, that email gets forwarded straight to me. So
Perfect. All right, well, stay tuned for next episode. We are going to have a special guest, and new episodes come out every Sunday.
wait, can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so another thing that we are trying to do right now is get a larger, so right now we probably have like 10, 15 customers that we know that we can call at any time and be like, hey, we're building this new feature, will you test it out for us? If anybody's listening to this and they want to be part of like the beta testers, just please like raise your hand and let me know. Like do the same thing, email hello@lawnbuddy.com and say, hi, I heard this and I want to be a beta tester, exclamation point,